Hi everyone, this is Saman Fatima, and we're back with another episode with Off the Record with me, Saman, on ITSP Magazine. So, today we're talking about another visa. We've talked about a lot of students who come here on F1 visa. We've also had a couple of chances where we talked about a different visa person being a student again. This is none different than that one, but where we would be talking if you're here on H1B, you're working with an organization, and then how can you also do your course as part-time or full-time and how things go on there. So we have Meenakshi here. She did her she did her master's from UC Berkeley. Everyone knows about that college. That's amazing. I have personally heard a lot about it in American TV shows, so I would really love to hear about it. So before we drill down much into it, Meenakshi, why don't you introduce yourself to everyone here? When did you come here? What college, what course, and where are you currently right now?
Absolutely. Thank you, Saman, for that introduction. Hello, everybody. My name is Meenakshi Sriraman. I am currently based in Chicago, and I am currently working with SailPoint as a senior solutions engineer in the sales engineering organization. I did my master's in cybersecurity. So it's basically master's in information and cybersecurity from UC Berkeley School of Information. I joined the cohort of 2022, and I just graduated this year in May. So yeah, this was a great course, and this has been basically juggling work life along with doing this course virtually. So it's been an interesting journey for sure.
I could hear like a lot of commonalities between us. That is, you also came in 2022, I also came in 2022. And SailPoint is evergreen for me because when I started my work experience after doing my undergrad back in 2017, I guess it's been a good combination of me and SailPoint, and we've gone and we've come this far that I'm still working on SailPoint, being
That
in
is awesome.
yeah. Uh, have had my own highs and lows with SailPoint, but I guess I'm sticking for the seventh year with SailPoint itself, with my WorkX started and still going on with the same tool.
That
So
is amazing. Yeah, it's very similar to me because so I came to the US in 2015. I came here on a work visa on H1B. And so I was not with SailPoint earlier, but I have been working on that tool like similar to you. I think it's been like 6, 7 years now. So yeah, it sounds
that's amazing.
exactly like my journey.
We've actually partnered with SailPoint, but working on it and everything. Obviously, it's not sponsored here, but yeah, that is one tool I have been working with, and now I get someone on the other side as well, who is like working now with SailPoint. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
So before we head on to a lot of things, I know you were in the country in 2015 itself, though not with the current employer. But if you can walk us through what motivated you to take your master's in 2022 as compared to 2015, and what visa were you on, and just more on that road.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started working right after my bachelor's. I did my bachelor's in India and I joined Tata Consultancy Services. So they actually sent me here on an H1B visa. I was working for a customer and basically came on site. I did want to do my master's right after my bachelor's, but I was like, okay, let me take a break, let me work for some time, feel that, and then maybe get back. But I couldn't get back because once you start working, it's very difficult to actually go back to student life. And you get used to certain things, right? You get used to like earning, and it's difficult to like go back. So I have been wanting to get on that track, but I've been like busy, didn't have much time. So 2015, when I came to the US, I did consider doing a master's degree virtually, but back then I didn't find a lot of, and I did start my career in cybersecurity and identity and access management. So that's always been a passion of mine. I also studied like one of my subjects in my bachelor's of engineering was cybersecurity. So it's been a passion to just continue that journey. But back in 2015, I didn't find a lot of universities that actually had this course. I think it's a newer realm or a newer industry. Or maybe like I didn't have much knowledge back then. So I did try reaching out to a university, and then the fees were too high for me because I just started working. So I didn't continue that path. But come 2021, end of 2021, I had spent some time working, and I was like, you know what, it's time to refresh myself. Just I like to keep learning. And yes, I did do some certifications, but I wanted to actually, I was considering doing either a CISSP or a master's, and then I landed on the master's degree. Uh, and I found three universities that intrigued me. One was, of course, UC Berkeley, because their course was ranked highest when I was looking for the courses. And then I also considered NYU, because they also have a cybersecurity course, and Purdue University. So these three universities intrigued me, and I applied to two, which is UC Berkeley and NYU. So why I chose UC Berkeley is because the course was more targeted towards working professionals. So they understood that, okay, there are people working. These might be mid-level people, not exactly like already into leadership or just starting out. Of course, it was friendly towards entry-level people as well, but they were more considerate of mid-level people maybe wanting to transition into leadership. And that's why the course really like stood out for me. And that's why I went ahead and applied, and yeah, thankfully got through.
I could actually feel like a lot of things are common between us. I started with TCS as well.
Nice.
And other things as well. A lot of things are falling parallel to all of us, and it feels like a doppelganger just sitting, beside me. But considering like it would have been really difficult to, manage, work alongside with the master's course as well. We'll come to that section as well. But before, like, obviously you came down on a different visa, you walked us through that. And that's completely possible for a lot of us who are currently on H1B and if they want to do a course. So wanting to understand about the curriculum that made you choose UC Berkeley, what, like, obviously it's the highest ranking, the college has good ranking, obviously, but what are the other factors that stood out for you, obviously, as compared to NYU and Purdue? What really stood out for you when you looked at the curriculum, if you remember? Obviously it's been 2 years,
Yeah.
but something.
Yeah, so I think one of the things I remember is the subjects that they were offering. So they offered a range from really technical subjects to sort of real world, like risk management or something a little bit more management level. So the subjects really stood out for me. Like, I think the two most intriguing subjects for me were cryptography, because I love it. Like, I'm not amazing at it. It's difficult, but like I always found it very interesting. And then risk was another factor, because I'm an IAM. I am wanting to branch out to other domains. So risk management was something which I thought, okay, this could be really interesting, learning about cyber risk and how it affects organizations. These are real world scenarios as well. They did offer a citizen clinic course as well, and of course a capstone which you can apply to the real world, where you can basically develop products and stuff. So this stood out to me. Second is the faculty. When I looked into the faculty that was actually teaching there, like, they really stood, because some of them have actually served at the White House. They're actually serving in like a lot of like organizations which are really, really important to the cybersecurity world. And I also did notice a lot of very strong women leaders in there who were teaching. So that is another thing that really I like when, I see women in our, because that there are not a lot of women in our field, and it's great. So that's what stood out.
That's really amazing. And obviously when people are from diverse backgrounds, like they have worked at the government agencies or maybe other private organizations, with my course as well, there were a lot of professors who were teaching as part-time, and they were working at like other government agencies or other private institutions. And obviously they come up with two things. One is a lot of experience, a lot of real-time examples that they can give it out to us, and the second thing is basically they have a lot of contacts as well. So during our time there were a couple of projects that we actually did, like the professor was friend with four other people, so he assigned each person to each of the group, And you
Wow.
can do
Okay.
like a live project and, take suggestions from those people who are actually CEOs of their organizations. And
Yes, exactly.
they readily made
Exactly.
us do
Exactly.
the cyber analysis for our
Yep.
organization, do the
Yep.
assessment. And that was something really great that, we were
Yeah.
doing it for real organizations
Exactly,
and
exactly. Because
really
we
not.
don't, yeah, it's difficult to get that kind of exposure otherwise, right? Like, yes, we are working, but are you really going to go up to your CEO and ask them, like, hey, can I do this? No, it won't work like that.
And
But
it
yeah.
was so nice that, you were able to see, okay, what assessments they have in
Mhm.
place, what they do. We also got to know that a lot of organizations did not even had like disaster management.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, like nothing of, business continuity or anything that was set up. So we
Hmm.
helped them set it up. Okay, yours is a private platform. So and so data can be exposed. We were able to suggest them. I don't know if
Yes.
they've applied it,
Hmm.
but at least we could
I'm
suggest
sure.
them in real
Yeah.
time environment. So
Yeah.
that was good. And this comes handy when the faculty is really diverse. So I
Right.
totally
Right.
agree to that point. And with UC, I guess
Of course. Yeah.
uh, it has to be considered that
Yeah.
this would be the scenario. So
Yeah.
I know the curriculum you talked about really stands out because these are the major things that would come up in the future as well, with risk or with
Yes.
cryptography, a lot of things
Yes.
there.
Yes. Yes.
With that being said, obviously you talked about that you were on H1B. So were
Hmm.
there any instances or are there any sort of rules or regulations where one has to go on F1 or they can still continue on H1, but there has to be certain, documentation done? Or obviously you continued on H1, but you were a student plus working.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
anything that one has to take care of in terms of paperwork or stuff?
Oh, no, you don't have to because this was a part-time course. So, and this was also virtual. So you're not really going back to a university and taking classes full-time. The rule of your H-1B visa is you need to be employed full-time by your employer, which is true in the case. And you're not really leaving your job and going back to college. So really, I didn't have to do anything for my visa. Like it's totally legal, totally fine to do
Okay.
this kind of course when you're on H-1B,
Okay.
as long as you're not like quitting your job and going back to college.
Yeah,
It's
obviously.
totally okay to, yeah, study on H1B.
Okay, that's great. That's great. I wanted to clarify this for people who may have this thought, like,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Yeah.
because I've had one guest who was on H4.
Mm-hmm.
She had to go back,
Yeah.
come on H1, sorry, F1 back
F1.
and,
Yeah.
then travel
Yeah.
overseas again. So I thought maybe
Exactly.
such is a case for H1
Mm-hmm.
as well. But yeah, thanks
No.
for clarifying that.
Yeah. Yeah.
With that being said, obviously, we want to have a clarity here. Like I've also always heard that, whenever you're doing a part-time, when you're
Mm-hmm.
employed with an organization, there are certain programs that your employer have that can pay 50% or 100% of your tuition
Yeah.
fee. I've never heard actually 100% actually, but something. Or
Yeah.
was it like out of your pockets? If
Mm-hmm.
yes, like we don't want to drill down much into the exact numbers, but just
Yeah.
to understand and give a rough estimate how much is to be spent for 2 years if one has to do the course.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So yes, there are programs. It really depends on your employer if they are willing to reimburse tuition. Like I know some employers will reimburse up to a certain amount a year, like 10,000, or some will reimburse 50%, or if it's actually, if the course pertains to the role that you're going to be playing in the organization, some may even like take care of the entire thing over the course of the a few years. So yes, definitely check with your employer. UC Berkeley also has scholarships that they offer. Now it depends, because these scholarships mostly are, when I was looking at least, they were mostly driven towards people who are citizens or have green cards, like permanent residents. I really didn't find anything for um, H1B visa holders. But they do have, so there are people who sponsor these scholarships for certain ethnicities. Again, back then, I didn't find anything for Indians who are working already. There are scholarships for people who are not working, or, if you come from a minority background, or if you're a certain ethnicity. So I would encourage checking the website. Like they have a link to all their scholarships. Um, for me personally, because I didn't find anything, I paid out of my own pocket. I did get a little bit of a scholarship from UC Berkeley directly because they thought I was a good candidate when they interviewed me. I don't want to call out the exact approximate amount I paid, but per year you can expect to pay like above a little bit, like 20 to 30 grand. Yeah, for a per year. Yeah, so it's 5 semesters, but
Okay.
approximately that. Now again, it depends on like person to person,
Mhm.
but yeah, that's what.
Okay. That's pretty much a lot to go
Yes,
out of one person's pocket, like
yes,
20K per year.
yes.
That's difficult to
It's a
digest
lot.
for today.
It's a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah,
But
it's a lot.
it just gives you that amount of credibility. I guess you would agree to it now after
Yeah.
doing it and not regret it
Yes.
at
No.
all.
No.
So coming back to the point where you mentioned the scholarships and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So is it like, because I wanted to actually clarify if there was nothing at all for foreign nationals, like nothing for international people coming down, not just specific to an ethnicity, but there's nothing at all.
There was. So, yes, there are scholarships for international. It just is, I didn't qualify because I was earning, but it is basically for students. If you're coming in from another
Mhm.
country, they do have scholarships for international students. Like,
Okay.
I will clarify that. It was just like for me personally, I didn't qualify, but yes, absolutely, there is.
Fair enough. Fair
Yeah.
enough. That's better because I've always
Yeah.
heard like international students do
Yeah.
have some benchmark of scholarship
Yes.
to be
Yes.
given.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And how did your application process look like? Obviously, you mentioned it that you had to give the interview as well, but what were the other stages that made you go till the interview level?
Yeah, absolutely. So there is, first you have to fill out a form, um, and you have to actually put in a statement, like a purpose, why you want to do this course, why do you think you're a good, and you really need to like work on giving a good statement because not everybody who applies gets through. Even though they still like vet through the students, even though it's an online course. So you have to have a very good statement. You need to submit to so you need to get two referrals sort of from somebody from your company talking about you. So I did manage to get that from I was at a different employer back then, but I managed to get it from my manager and my manager's boss.
Okay.
So I managed to get a good sort of cover letter for me. Like it's mandatory to do that.
Yeah.
At least it was back then. I don't know now, but 2 years back, you have to get like at least two cover letters or references, a good statement, and then you have to submit your transcripts, and you need to have a certain GPA or grade. So I had to get so because I came here and I didn't have transcripts, like in India, we don't really have transcripts,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
have mark sheets. So I had to request my college to send me transcripts, and basically they had to like courier it to me, and then I submitted it to
Okay.
UC Berkeley. So once they vetted all of that, then they contacted me for an interview.
Okay.
And then I had to basically answer, like it was like a 30-minute to 1 hour, I think. Basically, like, why should we choose you? Why do you think, what will you do for this course? How will the course benefit you? That sort of thing. So I had to answer an interview, and then yeah, I got through.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. So it's basically like, obviously, for everyone listening out here, you can check out the official website if
Yeah.
something from this process has actually changed.
Yeah.
But I guess this is like a straightforward process with everything how they vetted. But yeah, this something stands different because it's an online course, but still the same vetting is
Yes.
happening as compared to any other in-person course as well. So I
Yes.
guess they actually choose like the best of the best people, maintaining everything what UC stands for. And obviously that gave you out a lot of like good cream batch when you
Yes,
joined as well.
yes, exactly. Because I think they also aim to keep the number at a certain, like they don't
Okay.
take in too many students per
Mhm.
class, so that people get the attention that they need. And it's not like, okay, 60 students sitting in on one meeting. It's difficult, right? Even for the instructor, it's difficult to actually
Mhm.
address so many people online. So I think it was like 15 to 18 people per class. Um, yeah.
Being
So
from
I
an
think that's
in-person batch, we also just had 20. But
okay.
I
Okay,
guess,
good.
yeah, that's, I guess, I've also seen other batches, like other concentration batches for different
Mhm.
other areas. They have a good amount of 80, 90 people. And
Right.
I still fail to understand, how are the professors actually managing it? Like,
Very difficult.
that's like a big question for me as well.
Yeah.
But getting back to your part, like, were there any sort of, like, I've always heard like students talking about that, apart from their curriculum, they also were working as a teaching assistant or a research assistant or anything
Mhm.
assistantship when you go through. So
Yeah.
was such a thing possible with this online course or not?
Yes, it was. So I personally didn't do it because I didn't have time. But yes, we did have a teaching assistant who was also a student helping out with one of our courses. Like in our first semester or first year, we had a senior student come in as a teaching assistant, help out, grade. Same thing for another course. So yes, it's absolutely possible. I think yeah, UC Berkeley does give that job out if you need it, and if you're
Uh-huh.
good and like qualified for it, yes, you can get a teaching assistant job at least.
Perfect. Great. That it's possible if you want to do it.
Yeah,
If you want to go over 24 hours, go ahead.
it's not easy.
I know the course
Yeah.
would have been drilling as well. I can
Yes,
understand that.
yes.
So, before we actually come down to how you were actually managing, I just wanted to have this part that was it just a fall intake course or it was a spring or summer intake course as well for this online one you did?
Yeah, they have intake every semester. So every semester a new batch starts. So they have summer, fall, spring.
Mhm.
Um, so I started in May, so which was the summer batch.
Okay.
But even in fall, they have a batch coming. So basically, there are batches coming every
Mhm.
semester. But when you graduate, it's 2 or 3 batches together,
Okay.
whichever like completed it in that time frame, right? You'll
Hmm.
have like 2 or 3 batches. So
Perfect.
uh, you can apply anytime and get in.
Okay, perfect. So, with that being like the $1 million question, and actually, how were you managing like work, college, assessments, assignments,
Yes,
and what was those scenarios where things were not working in the night at your work, and then there was assignments due for 11:59?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. I honestly, I feel like I don't know how I got through to at least I won't say the whole 2 years was like that. Um, some of the subjects were more difficult than the others, where you had to put in 20, 30 hours of study time and assignment time for it. My evenings and my weekends were dedicated to this. I won't lie, it was not easy. Every evening, like after work, I would just take a break and then sit. And we used to have study groups, so it really helped. Like I had great like batchmates, so we used to create study groups, get together on meetings, and then we would just like, of course, we were not allowed to discuss or copy homework and stuff, but you were allowed to discuss and come up with a strategy. And then basically, you still have to call it out in your papers that, okay, this was my study group, so that they know you're
Yeah.
not cheating. So
Right.
uh, it helped that helped tremendously, because it's not easy, right? Like not everybody has, some people are experts in certain things,
Hmm.
whereas like for somebody like me, I have no idea about network security. So having people out there helped. It really helped. Like it sped things up a little bit that way, where you
Mhm.
discuss or somebody will teach and somebody will call it out. But there were certain subjects that were so difficult, and there was no, you can't even do study groups for it. It was a lot of like math.
Mhm.
So I had to sit like I think I barely slept 4 5 hours a day. My weekends, I was, and thankfully we used to have a break after every semester, like for a couple of weeks, so at least that helped.
Hmm.
But otherwise, it was just like work and then get to this, and then weekends are totally dedicated to your because we had to submit everything sometimes by Sunday,
Yeah.
11:59. So your weekend you're spending, and then we used to have assignments every week, and we had 2 subjects per semester, so 2 classes a week.
Okay.
where you had to sit. But then, of course, you have meetings with your study groups, you have your assignments. So every day, at least,
So
yeah,
was it evening classes, like evening on?
evening classes. Yes, it was. So we could select the time
Mm-hmm.
when we registered for the next semester. So they used to have classes at like 4:30 Pacific, which was like my 6:30, or
Mm-hmm.
they had 6:30 Pacific, which was 8:30 for me, which was late, but at least you had some time to recover after work.
Yeah.
Um, but it would go on like till 10:30 at night, and then you're tired at the end of the day.
Oh my
So
God. Like I
yeah,
can I can actually feel it because like not to that level obviously, because obviously working, like for example right now if I imagine doing what I did my masters with my work, no, not at all. I can't do it because at that time at least I had nothing else on plate. It was just you're doing your masters
yeah,
and then you are a TA, so you have to work 20 hours a week as well, and then obviously
Mhm.
your assignments and stuff.
Study and
And
yeah,
with us especially when because we've done our undergrad from India versus to
yeah,
what we do it here, so
completely different.
it's very different. It's
Yeah.
it's more of you're just keeping aside the theory and it's more of
Mhm.
you're practically applying things. So you mentioned
Mhm.
about network security.
Yeah.
So we were given an assignment to do like attacks in a closed environment. Oh
Hmm.
my God. Firstly, I was not able to understand it, but when I got hold of it, I
Yeah.
was fascinated. I was like,
Fascinated,
I
exactly.
can
Yeah.
do all these things every day.
I
And
know it was,
so,
yeah.
in college, what we learn is more of, okay, what are backdoor attacks?
Hmm.
What is
Hmm.
security onion or stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there
Yeah.
I actually, everything, you have to share on screen, you have to walk it
Hmm.
down to the entire
Hmm.
cohort and
Yeah.
show, okay, I did this, I did that. My
Yeah.
first password cracking, I was so happy. Oh my God, it took it
It's
3 months
so cool.
to crack the password. And
Yeah.
it was amazing to learn all those things on your own. And then
Yes.
obviously what you mentioned, study groups and stuff, that
Hmm.
was,
Hmm.
I guess, that saved all of
It's,
us through
oh,
our
yeah,
masters.
for
That
sure. Yeah.
because you get to know, okay, somebody's criteria is this,
Hmm.
was this,
Hmm.
and then you come up with some things and that
Hmm.
actually works with. So
Yeah.
yeah, that is fun, but I think so things wouldn't have been fun for the initial times when you had to manage things,
Yeah.
um, considering the study time and the work as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, with that being said, like, were there, like, obviously not after your graduation, but while you were doing the course, were
Mhm.
there instances that you felt like what you are learning is very close to what you're actually working for your employer, and a lot of the things you can take back and apply and stuff like that?
Yes, 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 absolutely. I won't say every subject aligned because, of course, like work, like the domain you're working in is not, but that was good for knowledge. But yes, I did have a few courses that really aligned or helped me understand what I'm doing better, helped me understand, like, okay, intricacies of the product, try to look into more stuff on the back end and find out things that way. So yes, I would say it helped me out a lot with what I was doing as well.
Perfect, perfect. And were there any times, Meenakshi, that you did go to the university? Like, I know it's an online course, but
Yeah.
anytime you went ahead and
Yes.
explored?
Yes, so actually we are required to go.
Okay.
So you see, Berkeley School of Information has something called an immersion where we are all required to go. It's just for 2, 3 days, but they call us to the university. They host sessions, they host like gaming events. It
Okay.
was really, really fun. And you get to meet your batch,
Mhm.
or two batches, whichever batches, whoever's not done the immersion. So you get to meet a lot of people.
Mhm.
They host like dinners and talks. So it was really cool. I think I went in March of 2023 to the university, and the university is beautiful. So really happy I got to go. Of course, you have to, they don't sponsor it. You have to pay for your own like hotel and flight and stuff. So, but it's good to like live near the campus and just walk over and
Mhm.
explore. But yeah, it was really nice.
Nice. That's great. Yeah, I was thinking like, are we like just wrapping up the entire course just in front of Zoom
No,
meetings?
no. Yeah,
That's
it feels nice,
yeah.
especially when you meet everybody in
It feels
person. Of
like a
course,
student actually.
exactly. You get that feeling like, okay, all right, I'm actually like in college. Even our graduation was in person. So of course, if you can't attend, that's fine. But we did
That's
have an
for
in
sure.
person.
At
Yeah,
least
yeah,
before graduation, you get
yeah.
to see the college ones.
Exactly.
And
So
were there any sort of like on-campus activities like apart from, any sort of extracurricular clubs or,
mhm.
um what do we say, like any other professional groups that
Yeah.
I don't know if if you had the time, but anything that was possible and you people could manage.
Yeah, so yes, they do host events, they do have groups. Unfortunately, I don't live in California, so it's very difficult for me to
Mhm.
travel. But
Yeah.
for people who live in the Bay Area or nearby and who are willing to go,
Mhm.
there were people who used to sometimes go to campus. They had professional groups, they had meetups, they used to host events for other newcomers coming in, and they would invite alumni to come socialize, or even like if you want to come on Zoom, you can, but they used to do it in person as well.
Yeah.
Personally, I could not because it's very difficult.
I
It's
can
very
understand.
far. Yeah, but people living in Cali and that area,
Mhm.
absolutely great. Like they did make it
Like the
feasible.
lucky
Yeah,
peeps.
yeah, lucky people. Exactly.
And were there any sort of opportunities that Meenakshi you took, like in terms of while doing the course, while working with the employer, any sort of conferences that you attended where your university played a role, or any sort of sponsorship was there to attend any sort of conferences or events or CTFs or anything of that sort that
Hmm.
could come?
Yeah, so I did not, but they do sponsor RSA,
Okay.
Black Hat. They do have a women cybersecurity cohort as well.
Mhm.
Uh, and then people were allowed, like, I know that my batch was invited to go attend or go to the Netflix office, get a tour of the Netflix office and get talks. Again, because of me living far away, very difficult for me to make it along with like work. But there were people, at least locally, they did this. And then, yes, you can get sponsorship to go to RSA or Black Hat. If you have like good content. I did not personally though.
I can understand.
Yeah.
Like, I guess out of 15, if one could also go in, that would also
Yeah.
count. But I guess
Yeah.
with the time limitation,
It's very
I
difficult.
can't imagine. Like,
No.
it's difficult.
Yeah.
During my college, I just could got hold of one scholarship that was
Nice.
Women in Cybersecurity.
Nice.
And for me also, I tried my level best that I want to have like some sort of money
Yeah.
involved in that scholarship so that at least I could sponsor some parts of
Somebody to
it.
go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
at least a bit of travel. So later I also attended like Black Hat and all, but
Mhm.
for us as students to travel like to places like Vegas or to
Oh,
Denver,
yeah.
it's
It is so cool.
expensive.
It is
So
very expensive.
it's
Yeah.
very cool,
Of
but it's
course.
very expensive. You think
It is. It
twice.
is. No, of
And
course.
when I
Yeah.
was a student, I got a scholarship. Right now, I'm working. I couldn't like actually get time. Although I'm not a student, I'm just working, but still I couldn't get time to
Very
this
difficult.
year go to Black Hat or anywhere. Then
Exactly.
10th, the time is a big deal.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. Like I would have loved to attend. I love conferences, but
yeah,
back then, even when the opportunity came, they were like, apply. I'm like, I cannot because
it's
like
like
swamped.
rest.
Yeah, then it's just one more thing to add on, right? So yeah.
Great.
Mm.
So I guess I had only these many things to actually talk to you about regarding your
Mhm.
experience. And I know it's really an amazing experience. So are you still connected with UC in any form, like in terms of being part of the alumni group or
Yeah.
any sort of being an ambassador and you help out, future incoming students as well?
So yeah, I am part of the alumni group. I do keep up with the Slack channels and all of that. No, I have not had an opportunity since I think my graduation in May. I've not had an opportunity to attend meetings to meet incoming students. Hopefully in the future, like maybe
I guess
next
you
year.
are doing it
Yeah,
right now.
right now, yeah. Yeah.
You
But I
did
do have
like,
people reach out on LinkedIn and ask, okay, how's the course? Like I'm thinking of
I guess
applying, and
this
then
is
I
it.
give them, yeah,
This is it,
that's,
like,
yeah.
copy paste and watch my video. I talked about it.
Yeah, exactly. Just go watch.
Yeah. But this was really amazing. I got hold
Yeah.
of a lot of things. If in the very latter future, if I plan to do something, not now, I would keep this video in mind because this is something very closely related to at least my
Yeah.
situation right now, if I want to do
Yeah.
it anything in the future. But this was really helpful. A lot of people who are in it on H1B right now, if you have the money, if you have the sponsorship from your employer, I guess this is like a great opportunity if you can manage
Yeah.
time and go ahead and do such a diverse course. But
Absolutely.
before we call it off, anything that you have as an advice, being like a juggler here, working and studying, anything for the incoming students that you wanted to give out?
Yes, absolutely. So I did want to mention one thing that I
Uh-huh.
forgot during the application process. It's basically if you're coming from a foreign country, you're working here, you still need to take a TOEFL or IELTS exam.
Mhm.
Uh, of course, when you come for your master's, you would be doing that.
Yeah.
But we coming for work, we don't have to do that. So you still have to take that and submit that score. So that's one thing to keep in mind because you have to take it. Like it's mandatory for all universities, even if it's online course. Um, and then coming to juggling, I think you
What was
need,
your mantra, maybe? I think so. There would have been 10 things that you would have tried, three would have worked.
yeah.
We can talk about the 10 as well, but anything that you thought worked really for you and somebody else, if I give it out, that
Mhm.
could be helped. So, yeah.
I think mainly it was my passion and interest that drove me. Like
Mhm.
it was not easy. I will not like sugarcoat it. It's not easy when you're
Yeah.
working. You really have to think twice. Like, can you take this up? It was really like interest and love for this field that got me through it. Other than that, it was just try to keep up with your coursework very regularly. Like, don't keep things for the last minute. Like, as we used to go and watch videos before the class happened so that we would be prepared for
Mhm.
part of the class, so that you don't go and sit and prepare. Like, once class is done, you have to sit and watch videos and read up materials. So, you have a week between your two subjects. Say, I mean, this is from what I did, but
Yeah.
basically take that week to read through all. They give you, they equip you with everything in advance. So you have all your study material, you have your papers to read, you have your videos to watch. Like, do it in advance. Don't keep it for the last minute. And some lecturers were really nice. Like, they would not give us deadlines. They would be like, just submit all your assignments at the end of the course.
Oh.
Don't do that. Like, do not, like, try to at least do like a few weekly, like as you finish that portion, finish it off. Keeping it towards the last minute is just going to drive everybody crazy.
I
So
know.
just try to be like prepared
Yeah.
before things happen. I think that's how I got through it. Otherwise, it would have been like horrible.
I
So
guess that really helps me in
yeah,
any scenario. I guess
yeah,
doing your master's, bachelor's, or
yeah.
your doctorate degree anywhere, you have to put little bit efforts
Extra
every
effort.
day. Yeah, every
Exactly.
day. And then one day when you're done after 10 days, you'll be good that, okay, I did it. But I have,
Exactly.
I've done it once that I've started things just a day before. I
Hmm.
cried my heart out. I'll not repeat it. I am
It's
dead. Like,
terrible. Yeah.
my assignment submission was 11:59. I submitted it at 11 p.m.
Oof.
And that was very close because there are
Yeah.
also systems which you have to understand that,
Yeah.
if you're submitting an hour before,
Yeah.
maybe it just doesn't takes it up and you're
Hmm.
just marked as,
Hmm.
it wasn't
Done.
done
Yeah.
till time or something. So
Exactly.
it's always there that the professor says, like, submit it before 4 5 hours, like,
Yeah.
it processes it and takes it in.
Yes. Yes.
So
Exactly.
I had such professors who were like, if it's not on the portal, I will not consider the
Yeah,
email.
exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah.
They don't like it has to be submitted. It has to be like done before. And yeah, like And another thing is like you have to participate, like even if it's online, you can't just be sitting. Like there are grades for participation as well.
I know
So that's, yeah.
there were sections where everyone has to come up and talk
Yeah.
about the news. And
Yeah.
if I am talking about my news,
We
obviously
have
not
that.
others have the same news.
Yeah.
You have to cross question me as well. Like if you're not cross
Yeah.
questioning me or if you're not participating,
Yeah.
you don't know, but your marks are getting deducted.
Yeah.
You'll get it
Yes.
later that your marks
Yes.
are
At
deducted.
the end of the semester that,
So
oh,
it's
you didn't
like just speak,
participate. Yeah.
just talk, just pay attention.
Just,
So
yeah.
and we have to be on, like my course
Yeah.
was
On camera. Yep.
95% in person, but the 5% which was online, you
Yeah.
have to be on video.
Yeah, same here. We had to be on camera. Like you have to be on, unless it's really like of course they would understand if some people used to be traveling and all of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise you have to. And it's good to participate as well. Like preparing like this helps you because it's essentially you still need to learn from the course. You're not just there to like get grades and leave. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think this helps.
I've really learned from the professor as well as from
Mhm.
my cohort as well, because
Yeah.
the diverse group you have,
Mhm.
considering I've had a lot of people who are veterans who have worked
Yeah.
on in those areas, but on the
Yeah.
computer side, or
Yes.
a lot of experience they bring on table. And
Mhm.
I also had people like who were more from the education background, like more of they were teachers, and
Yes.
they had their own background of
Yeah.
getting it on the table. So
So interesting to learn from those because we are stuck to our background. But when you look at, okay, veterans, like even we had like, okay, somebody from the Air Force or somebody
yeah,
who's a VP, somebody who's like a CISO already, but they're coming to do the course. It's very interesting to learn,
yeah,
yeah,
I
from them
agree.
as well.
So obviously take this chance like you did it, and
Yeah.
I guess Meenakshi did it really amazingly, and just a recent graduate, and yeah, it would have felt really amazing. Like it's been like almost like you'll head to 2025 almost done with
Yeah.
6 months of your graduation. So
Yeah.
I think congratulations for
Thank
that,
you. Thank
and
you.
obviously
Thank you.
you did it with flying colors. And thank you so much for being here, sharing your experience. I guess it will help a lot of people who are on H1B and want to, do a course, maybe a degree or a course. So this would really help them. But thank you so much for making time and talking about it. And I guess we'll stay connected.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you, Saman.
Thank you. And thanks, everyone.